Welcome to Your Business is Not Your Boss. I'm Geoff Welch, and I help small business owners cancel the chaos and accomplish more with less effort. What is up? Welcome to episode 54 of Your Business is Not Your Boss. I am your host, Geoff Welch, and today we're going to be talking symbolically about the importance of clean countertops. But before I get into that, and I promise there is a very, very important connection to your small business, we're not literally talking about clean countertops. Before we get into that, I do want to remind you about my mastermind called Calm, Focused, and Effective. It is a small group experience that will help you become just that, calm, focused, and effective in your small business, and really learn to multiply your results, accomplishing more with less effort, canceling the chaos, moving beyond the interruptions and the distractions and all the stuff that makes it difficult for you to make progress on your plans, to begin to master those things so that you can approach your weeks and your days with a sense of purpose, with a sense of direction, and ultimately make progress on those things in ways that you have not been able to yet. So just go to jeffwelch.com/mastermind and you can jump on the waitlist. You can learn all about it. The waitlist is the place to be. You will definitely get access to early applications and some early bird bonuses if you're on that waitlist. So don't hesitate to get on there. jeffwelch.com/mastermind. Okay, clean countertops. Let's go way back in time. Okay, I want to tell you about this dude named Newton. I believe his name was Sir Isaac Newton. Maybe his name was Fig Newton. I'm not sure, but he was definitely a Newton. And he came up with a lot of crazy popular ideas. People can't stop talking about him, right? One of those was something he called, or maybe other people called, I don't know, Newton's laws of motion. And these laws describe a few different things, but one of these laws basically, I'm no physicist, scientist, but one of these laws basically is an object that is at rest will stay at rest, and an object that is in motion will stay in motion unless it's interacted with by some external forces, right? And in our world, we see a lot of these external forces happening, right? Your car does not stay in motion just because you started it, because there's friction and all these other things that exist in the world around us. But this law, one of Newton's laws of motion, parallels neatly with something I like to call Geoff's law of clean countertops. And it goes something like this. A clean countertop, a cleared, uncluttered, unmessy, just open countertop is likely to stay that way, or more likely to stay that way. And a messy countertop, it's cluttered, got a bunch of stuff on it, is more likely to become messier over time. So if it's clean, it's more likely to stay that way. And if it's messy, it's more likely to get even messier. That's Geoff's law of clean countertops. And it works, in my experience, it works something like this. When the countertop is clean and wide open, when we have this 3-foot by 10-foot island in our kitchen. And when it is empty, when there's nothing on it, unless you are a 17-year-old, my daughter Maddie is definitely able to circumvent this law. But my wife and I, it is difficult to become the person who sets the first piece of junk on that counter. It sticks out. It is clearly something that is not supposed to be there. And so what happens is it becomes much easier to just grab that thing and put it back where it goes, or to say, if something is left there, if a single thing is left there, someone else can say, I know where this goes, I'm going to deal with this, because you're only being asked to solve one problem. And so the countertop stays uncluttered because it is uncluttered, and it becomes difficult to be the person who introduces clutter into that clean countertop. Now, if there is already clutter and the mail comes in, the groceries come in, having a teenage daughter in the house makes this challenging, because there are moments when it's cleared and then she comes in from school and work and all of her activities, and suddenly there are 40 things on the counter. Suddenly, all of her belongings, apparently, have arrived on this counter. And when that happens, it's really not a big deal to add one more thing. For me to set one little thing on the counter, you barely even notice that it happened. And when you're passing by, the idea of cleaning off the counter, now it's real work. Now you got to do all this stuff, and half of it's hers, and you just want to throw it in the garbage anyway. And so it is easier for that system to become messier because it's already messy. One more thing is almost unnoticeable. And that's what tends to happen. It stays messy for a while. It's a lot of work to clean up. No one really notices that it's getting a little bit messier and a little bit messier every day. So clean countertops are more likely to stay clean. Messy countertops are more likely to stay messy. And the reason that is important is not literally because of your countertops, although that could be a good place to start. If you're feeling a little chaotic, a little out of control, look at the flat surfaces in your home and say, am I cluttering these things up? Or am I keeping them orderly? But the parallel I want to make here, the connection I want to make for you as a small business owner, is that I think when our minds and our calendars are cluttered versus clarified, right? The cluttered countertop has a lot of stuff on it. The clarified countertop, it's there. It's ready for you to prep dinner. It's ready for you to do whatever you need to do. When our minds and calendars are cluttered, it makes it much more difficult for us to follow through on our big plans, to make sense of how we should spend our days. I think when your mind is cluttered, when you feel like there is so much stuff swirling around, you don't have a system, a way of keeping track of the work you're supposed to do, or you haven't clarified what really is important to you, well, it all seems important. Right? Like anything that comes up and slaps you in the face during the course of a day seems like a thing you need to deal with. And I'm not suggesting that it's something that never needs to be dealt with, but maybe it doesn't need to be dealt with now, and maybe it's not you that needs to deal with it. But it's hard to know that in the moment when your mind is messy, when you feel like everything is happening all at once and you've got to pay attention to all the things. I've been playing a lot of Tetris lately. I had a Game Boy when I was a kid. I loved that thing, and I loved playing Tetris on it. And I have been playing classic, not the new one, not the new color one, but the classic Game Boy Tetris on my Nintendo Switch a lot lately. And at some point, things move fast enough that all the things you've been able to manage and control, you felt like everything was stacking in orderly ways. All of a sudden, you place something in the wrong spot, or the game speeds up as you go. And now all of a sudden, it feels like everything has been ramped up 2x, 3x, 4x. And it doesn't take long, one or two small moves that don't work the way that you intended for them, for you to lose, right? They stack up and it's over. And I think that's the way our minds are sometimes. When we have a clear and orderly plan, it's easier to notice things that are at odds with that. And when we don't, when we sort of wing it every day, and when we approach our days as, we'll see what happens, or there's a bunch of stuff I want to get to, but we don't have a plan for how we're going to do that, it can feel like things speed up on us very quickly. All of a sudden, everything needs to happen at once, and we are at the mercy of our days. And that's a convenient place to operate from, because none of it's your fault then, right? And yet, of course, I would argue everything is our fault. At the end of the day, most of the things we experience are based on our choices, and we have to take responsibility for those choices. So a cluttered mind is more apt to just take anything in and say, sure, we're going to absorb these inputs as well, because it's hard to decipher what is important, what isn't. And the same thing with your calendar. A cluttered calendar, a calendar that is that doesn't have, like, if you look at your calendar, it should describe what is important to you. It should be blocks of time and bits of information that say, this is what matters and this is what I prioritize. And sometimes our calendars just look like a bunch of random chaotic things, if we have even taken the time to organize them and to put things there, right? So when your calendar is clarified, what should exist is a trail of breadcrumbs that says, these are the things that are important to me. This is where I'm going to allocate the free time that I have, or the discretionary time that I have. I'm going to allocate it towards the things that matter to me because I know what those things are, and I want to make sure I'm addressing them in whatever ways I can in my busy days and my busy weeks. You may not be able to set aside hours for these things, but there should be this little, oh, okay, I see what matters to them because I see the thing they keep coming back to when they have the opportunity. When our calendars are cluttered, when they're filled with things that are perhaps not in alignment with what we really care about and what the plans that we have and the things that we want to advance, suddenly they just become chaotic. They become these things become hurdles we have to navigate. When they aren't organized well, when, there's, I need to be here for this and then there for that and then back here for this and then over there for that. And then instead of saying, what if we could organize the calendar in a way that used our time more efficiently, that cut down on travel time? Man, since I'm working from home, the idea of having to go to a place and waste time getting there is exasperating sometimes, right? So I'm constantly trying to organize my weeks in a way that eliminates as much of that as I can, so that they are as efficient, so that I have extra time, if not for the work, then just extra time to rest. Why would I spend time getting from here to there or doing things that don't matter if I could convert that time into forward progress or rest so that I can make more progress later? That's something that I value, and so that's something I want to prioritize. So when you have clarity about what matters, about what you want to accomplish, about how your time is best spent, you immediately recognize the things that are at odds with that and can say, I need to make some different choices about how to deal with this because I know this does not move my plans forward. Maybe it's something I need to delegate. Maybe it's something I need to defer and renegotiate, but I know it's not something that I need to address right now. And we are better able to organize our calendars and organize our time in ways that support the outcomes that we're looking for. No clarity about the outcomes, any way will work. If you don't know where you're trying to get, any path will get you there. So an opportunity for action this week. I really believe in the idea of taking 5 minutes at the end of each day. This does not have to be a long, drawn-out, convoluted process. I talk a lot about the workday shutdown, which is a little longer than this, but this is an essential component, I think. Take 5 minutes at the end of each of your workdays and just look at tomorrow and say, what are my priorities for tomorrow? What do I want to accomplish, and how do I need to organize tomorrow to get more of that? And then either block time on your calendar or leave yourself a note, right? Maybe these are things that don't actually fit on your calendar at specific times because of the nature of your work, but they're things you don't want to lose for tomorrow. Add them as all-day events on your calendar maybe, or just leave yourself a note in a place that you're going to come back to in the morning so that when you arrive at work tomorrow, you already have a game plan. You already are primed for progress because you've done a little bit of thinking today to set you up for success tomorrow. So that's your opportunity for action. All right. If this kind of thought process, how to make your days more efficient and effective, if this is something that makes you feel like, man, I want more of this, I want to be able to make real, calm, effective progress on the work that matters most to me, again, I encourage you to intersect with that mastermind that I'm offering. Just go to jeffwelch.com/mastermind. You can learn more about it. It is going to help you really dive into the brass tacks of how to set yourself up for more effective days, more effective weeks, and you know how that works. That becomes months and years, and all of a sudden you are really moving in the direction you want to move, and you're doing it with a lot less stress. Okay, jeffwelch.com/mastermind. That's it from me. Set aside 5 minutes a day to think about tomorrow and to game plan that and put those things on your calendar. And do not forget, your business is not your boss.